In November 2023, one of your franchisees told our predecessor committee about your performance and customer excellence system. And she said then that we monitor everything that's happening, particularly around people practices. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct. There is a specific module of it which is purely dedicated to people practices. We call it Putting People First visits. And there is also a part of every visit which includes people questions to make sure that we always have an unannounced element so that we can always be confident that what we're experiencing when we do these reviews is the reality of what's happening in the restaurant.
So in September 2024, when the BBC reported about a McDonald's restaurant in Cambridgeshire where there were 9 victims of modern slavery working in one of your restaurants, where those victims worked between 70 and 100 hours a week, and 4 of them were paid into the same bank account, why did your systems not spot that? And your people not spot it?
Yes, let me just talk about the context there. So over 10 years ago, a criminal gang infiltrated one of our restaurants, and in 2015, 2016, just at the time that Theresa May, as Home Secretary, was talking about the evolving face of modern-day slavery, they were able to recruit some people to work in that restaurant. It's around 10 years ago. The face of modern-day slavery was very different then, and businesses' ability to understand it, recognise it, and detect it, I'm afraid, wasn't where it is today. We have certainly learned from that experience, and today would be very unlikely to not be detected because we've put 6 significant steps in place. The first is simply today, all of our managers are aware of what modern-day slavery looks like and how to detect it. The second is that when we recruit people, we no longer allow the use of interpreters. Back in those days, an interpreter was able to step in, which clearly created a barrier. The third area is we now have much more protection around the number of hours that people work. So anybody who elects to work more than the 48 hours stipulated has to go through a conversation interview process to confirm that they're doing it of their own free will and that that's what they want to do. We also now have the ability to double check on bank accounts. So any time where more than one person has the same bank account, we're able to ask questions. Of course, it doesn't mean slavery is happening. It may simply be husband and wife, but it allows us to tackle that. We then have much broader awareness that is spiked around the National Slavery Day, which allows us to make sure that everybody in the restaurant is aware what modern-day slavery looks like, because quite often the managers may not see what people's colleagues do. And finally, and really importantly, is having the best whistleblowing approach. And we do that now in partnership with Unseen, a leading charity in modern-day slavery, to ensure that people have got a route to speak up anonymously, because what we do understand is that it's a very frightening space and people are often intimidated and not prepared to speak, and that gives us the best chance. So I think today, with that level of protection, it's much harder, although we do have to understand we are dealing with organised criminal gangs in this area.
You said a few times about 10 years ago. To confirm, the BBC's report says this ended in 2019, which isn't 10 years ago. These people, though, paid into the same bank accounts. 4 people paid into that same bank account, £215,000. Do you think at the time McDonald's was negligent in not spotting these signs of modern-day slavery?
I think that it was a very different time. The understanding of modern-day slavery...
It might have been a different time, but do you think McDonald's was negligent at the time?
I don't think we were negligent at that time, no.
Do you think it should have been spotted at the time?
It's very hard for me to project myself back to that period of time, but I certainly...
Do you think it should have been? If you were going into one of those into that restaurant, do you think you would have spotted it?
I don't think I would have spotted it. From everything I understand...
Someone working 100 hours a week or someone on a 30-hour shift?
I think for a one-off occasion, it would have been dealt with and considered to have been... maybe it was a management mistake.
When you came to us back in... last year, back in November 2023, did you know about this incident?
In November 2023, I was only aware that there was a court case ongoing and we were taking part in it, yes.
Why didn't you report it to us at the time?
It wasn't part of the conversation, wasn't something I was asked about.
Well, you were asked specifically, though, about McDonald's duty of care. And you told the chair of the committee at the time, for me, it's more than a legal responsibility, for me, it's a commitment. So it was something that was pertinent to the conversation, would you not have thought? But if we can't confirm that if we don't raise a specific question with you, you're not going to tell us everything that we may need to know about this, how can we be sure as a committee that problems that are going on at McDonald's aren't being hidden away from the public?
You have as my word and my commitment as somebody who puts his personal values and integrity front and centre to everything he does, not just as a leader but as a person. It tells you that I will be completely open and transparent and answer your questions as full away as possible.
You gave that commitment in November 2023.
Absolutely.
Didn't tell us. You didn't tell us. So you gave that commitment in November, that exact same commitment, almost word for word, in November 2023. You didn't tell us about it, but now you're telling us that, oh, well, you're open and transparent about things. So where's the change? The words don't match the rhetoric.
I'm sorry, I think you're misrepresenting the situation. But perhaps if you could identify for me the question that would have allowed me to answer that particular area, I would have done. It was not a secret. It was, it was a public court case. Yes, there was reporting restrictions at that point in time, but it's not something that I in any way attempted to cover up, hide, or anything else. I failed to understand where I didn't provide the transparency that would be expected.
Weston.